LeBron James got suspended for putting his hands on fans who were mocking Bronny. The video is everywhere. The headlines are everywhere. But what actually happened between LeBron and those fans, and why he finally snapped after 2 years of silence, changes everything. The incident that broke the internet. But before we get into what actually went down, you need to understand something first. You need to understand what Bronny James has been living through for the last 2 years. Because without that context, none of this makes sense. And with that context, all of it makes sense. Every single second of it. Bronny James was drafted 55th overall by the Los Angeles Lakers in 2024. That pick made him and his father the first father-son duo to share an active NBA roster at the same time in the history of the league. The Lakers called it historic. Jeannie Buss called it magical. LeBron cried on draft night. ESPN ran the footage on repeat for 3 straight days. For about 1 week, the entire basketball world was smiling. Then the box scores started coming in, and the smiles turned into something else entirely. Bronny's production across his first season and into 2025-26 was limited by every metric that exists. He averaged roughly 7 to 8 minutes per game with low single-digit scoring. His three-point shooting dipped below 30% in multiple stretches. He received frequent G League assignments to the South Bay Lakers for development, and accumulated DMPs on the box scores, like receipts for a purchase nobody wanted to make, and every single number was collected, compiled, and distributed to millions of people who had already made up their minds about him before he ever touched the court. Reddit threads called him trash. Posts on X labeled him the biggest Nippo baby in NBA history. When his Summer League 2024 airballs went viral, fans said he was making a mockery of the NBA. When preseason 2025-26 delivered a 1 for 12 shooting night, the phrase, "still garbage," trended on social media for hours, not minutes, hours, for a kid who had not even played a full NBA season yet. But the anonymous accounts were just the opening act. The real damage came from people with names, credentials, and audiences in the millions. Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics was caught on camera during 2024 Summer League telling people around him, "I don't think Bronny is a pro." The comment was captured by a nearby microphone and became a national headline within an hour. LeBron referenced it in interviews as late as February 2026, more than a year and a half later, proving the remark was still sitting in his chest like something he could not swallow. Kwame Brown went on his platform repeatedly and called Bronny soft, claiming high school players were more talented and that the entire arrangement was the most blatant case of nepotism in professional sports history. Channing Crowder, the former NFL player, said in April 2025 that Bronny was cooked defensively and stated flatly that he should not be in the NBA. Doug Gottlieb called Bronny a make-a-wish situation when evaluating his high school prospects. Stephen Hunter accused LeBron and Rich Paul of egregious abuse of power in getting Bronny onto the roster. And Anna Horford, sister of NBA veteran Al Horford, tweeted about nepotism blocking more deserving players from spots that Bronny was occupying. Every single one of them said they were just telling the truth about basketball. Every single one of them framed it as analysis, not attack. But for a young man who was less than 2 years removed from a cardiac arrest caused by a congenital heart defect, a defect that literally stopped his heart during a USC practice in 2023 and came close to ending his life before his career ever started, the truth and the cruelty were wearing the same uniform.
What's going on with Bronny James? Nah, for real. Like, what's really going on? Y'all been watching him? Whether it's the G League games, the NBA games, I called this out this summer.
Even the people who claimed to be rooting for Bronny spent full podcast segments breaking down his failures like they were studying game film on an opposing player.
Have a 0 basketball IQ! Hello, that's a backdoor violation!
Compilation videos stacked his worst plays into reels designed for maximum humiliation. Millions of views, thousands of comments, all singing the same chorus.
This guy can't execute a 2-on-1! He can't score on Planet Fitness!
He does not belong here. That was the drumbeat every single day, from every single direction, louder than the day before. And the worst part was not the media figures, or the podcast hosts, or the social media trolls. The worst part was the fans who paid for courtside seats and used that proximity to say things to a young man's face that most people would not type from behind an anonymous account. In January 2020, when Bronny was still a teenager playing for Sierra Canyon High School, a young fan threw debris at him during a Hoop Hall Classic game while he was inbounding the ball. LeBron, sitting in the stands at his son's high school game, posted the video afterward with the caption, "Hating has no age limit," and called the incident disrespectful. The game was briefly stopped, nobody was punished, and the next game, the next fan, the next piece of trash thrown from the stands was just a matter of time. Then came November 2021. LeBron had just served his only career suspension at that time. 1 game for the flagrant 2 contact with Detroit Pistons center Isaiah Stewart. His first game back was against the Indiana Pacers, and 2 courtside fans chose that night to say things about his son that would make any father's blood turn to gasoline. According to multiple outlets and a courtside witness who corroborated the remarks on social media, the fans directed grotesque comments at LeBron, including, "I hope Bronny dies in a car wreck," and chicken noises mocking his son's talent. LeBron flagged the officials. The fans were ejected from the arena, and LeBron was fined $15,000 separately for an obscene gesture during the same game, a gesture many believed was directed at the section where those fans had been sitting. Some called him a snitch, others called it restraint. But what everyone understood was that LeBron James was absorbing blows that had nothing to do with basketball and everything to do with his child. And the question that kept getting louder in every comment section and on every podcast and in every arena where Bronny suited up was not whether LeBron would snap, it was when. So when reports started circulating that LeBron had allegedly gone after fans during a recent game and gotten suspended by the league for it, nobody questioned it. Nobody asked for a source. Nobody waited for confirmation. They just believed it. Because after 2 years of watching what this family has been through, it felt like the most predictable headline in the world. But the real story of LeBron losing his composure is not the one in those thumbnails. The real story happened on national television, in front of millions of people, with cameras capturing every second. And it did not involve random fans. It involved the most powerful voice in sports media. The night LeBron crossed the court. If one person became the face of the Bronny James criticism more than any other, it was Stephen A. Smith. Not because he was the cruelest, others said far worse things, but because he was the loudest, the most visible, and the most relentless. And because his criticism did not stay on the television screen. It followed LeBron into the arena. Smith had been building his argument for months before the confrontation. He said repeatedly that he warned LeBron before the draft not to put Bronny under the kind of pressure that comes with being marketed as your father's teammate. He pointed out that LeBron was the one who told the world Bronny was better than some of the NBA players right now, while Bronny was still in high school. He reminded his audience that LeBron was the one who publicly said, "Draft him. I'll play anywhere he's at. It ain't even about the money." And Smith's central argument was that by making all of those declarations publicly, LeBron had painted a target on his son's back that no 55th overall pick should ever have to carry. Smith delivered his sharpest critique on First Take, using a phrase that would change everything. He prefaced his comments by saying, "as a dad," because LeBron had marketed himself as a father guiding his son into the league. So Smith addressed him as a father. And that framing detonated a bomb that nobody could put back together. The confrontation happened during a nationally televised Lakers game. Smith was not in the media section. He was sitting courtside as a guest of Ari Emanuel, the founder of William Morris Endeavor, who had seats directly next to the Lakers bench. Larry David, the star of Curb Your Enthusiasm, was sitting with them. The arena was packed. The cameras were covering every square foot of the building, and the timing made it even more explosive because Smith had just publicly announced his new ESPN contract that very day, meaning every sports reporter in the country already had his name in their notes.
This was in the third quarter. Apparently, LeBron had walked out of the timeout, and I turned around, and he's right here in my face.
LeBron walked out of a third quarter timeout and went straight to Smith, not after the game, not through an agent, not through a phone call. He walked across the floor during a live NBA broadcast and put himself face to face with the man who had been talking about his son on national television every single morning.
He said, "Yo, you gotta stop talking about my son. You gotta stop fucking with my son. That's my son. That's my son."
Smith said he tried to de-escalate. He asked if they could talk after the game. LeBron had no interest in waiting.
And I was like, "What?" He said, "Nah, that." I said, "Yo, let's talk later." He's like, "That, nah, that."
LeBron said what he needed to say. Then he turned around and walked away. No shove, no swing, no security rushing in. Just words from a father who could not hold them in any longer.
And I said, "All right, though." And he walked off.
But the detail that explains everything came later when Smith described what happened before the confrontation. During a first quarter timeout, Smith noticed Bronny looking over at him from the bench with what Smith described as a sad look on his face. Smith believed LeBron saw it too. And that expression, the face of a son who had been hearing his name dragged through the mud every day for months, looking across the court and seeing the man responsible for the loudest criticism sitting right there watching him, was the thing that broke LeBron.
Bronny looked over at me, and he had this sad look on his face. And I'm imagining Pop saw that It hit him.
Smith went on air the next morning. He had not planned to address the confrontation, but the video had gone viral overnight, and ESPN told him he had to talk about it. So he did. He opened by giving LeBron credit. He said this was a father talking to him, not a player. He acknowledged the emotion behind it. Then Smith made the argument that split the country in half. He said he was never going after Bronny. He was going after LeBron. Because LeBron was the architect of this entire situation. He was the one who created the conditions that made Bronny a target. And when Smith tried to warn him before the draft, nobody listened.
Draft him. I'll come play anywhere he's at. It ain't even about the money.
Smith went on Gil's Arena and built his case piece by piece. He quoted LeBron's own public statements. He pointed to every comparison LeBron made, every declaration, every moment where a father's pride turned into a son's burden.
If you go back and look at the tape, back then I said, stop. You can't do this.
Smith said he warned LeBron on national television. He said the warning was on tape. He said every word of his critique was aimed at LeBron's decisions, not Bronny's talent. And when LeBron finally confronted him at Courtside, Smith felt the anger was aimed at the wrong person. But LeBron did not see it that way. On the Pat McAfee show, LeBron fired back and made it personal.
You would be not to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you can address it, it's your.
LeBron accused Smith of playing both sides, claiming he did not want to discuss it, then running to every camera and microphone in the country the second the footage went viral.
Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job, to criticize.
LeBron said he understood the game. He understood that analysts are paid to critique players. He understood that comes with being in the NBA, but he drew a line, and that line was his family.
That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players.
That was the message. Not that you cannot criticize Bronny's game, but that when the criticism becomes personal, when it stops being about basketball and starts being about a father's choices and a son's worthiness as a human being, a line has been crossed, and LeBron James was not going to stand on the other side of that line quietly. Meanwhile, through all of this noise, Bronny was starting to do something nobody expected. He was fighting back, not with words aimed at Stephen A. Smith or Kwame Brown or the Reddit comment sections. He was fighting back on the court and in the arenas, in the moments where it mattered most. During a game against the Nuggets, a fan was heckling Bronny relentlessly from the stands, shouting, pointing, doing everything possible to get under his skin. Bronny looked at the man, looked at the oversized chain hanging around his neck, and said 4 words that shut down an entire section of the arena.
Our expert lip readers point out Bronny told the heckler, your chain fake. For reference, here is a photo of the Bronny heckler and his chain.
The reaction from former players was immediate.
I want to see more of this, man. Yeah, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of Bronny talking, man. Yeah.
For the first time in his young career, Bronny showed the world something other than quiet endurance. He showed personality. He showed that the noise was not destroying him, and he showed that he did not need his father to fight every battle for him. But the question still remained. If LeBron would confront the biggest name in sports media on live television over words, what would he do to anonymous fans in an arena? What would it take to push him past words and into action? And did it finally happen? The truth behind the suspension. Now we get to the part that everybody came here for, the alleged suspension, the claim that LeBron James physically attacked fans in an arena and that the NBA handed down a suspension for it. Here's the truth, it did not happen. No credible evidence from NBA.com, ESPN, mainstream sports outlets, official league announcements, or reliable reporting supports this claim as of April 2026. There is no box score showing LeBron was ejected for making contact with fans. There is no disciplinary filing from the league office. There is no statement from the Los Angeles Lakers organization. There is no video from any arena camera, broadcast feed, or fan's phone showing LeBron James laying hands on anybody in any stands at any game this season or any season. Official NBA suspension records confirm that LeBron's last on-court suspension was the 1-game ban in November 2021 for the flagrant 2 elbow to Isaiah Stewart's face. That is the entirety of his suspension history across 23 professional seasons. LeBron missed early 2024 25-26 games because of sciatica, a nerve injury, not a disciplinary action, and X keyword searches for the specific claim returned 0 relevant posts, which means that even in the wildest corners of the internet, nobody with any credibility ran with this story. So where did the claim come from? The same place it always comes from: clickbait YouTube channels that recycle Bronny LeBron suspended templates because the algorithm pays them to do it. Titles like Bronny James suspended after attacking Rockets coach, and NBA suspends Bronny after failed drug test, and LeBron attacks fans mocking Bronny appear constantly. The creators of these videos know the headline is false. They say so in the content itself, but by the time you click, they already have your view, and the algorithm already has another data point telling it that this kind of content works. LeBron's career disciplinary record is remarkably clean for a superstar of his longevity. Beyond the Stewart incident and the $15,000 fine for the obscene gesture, he has faced almost no league discipline in over 2 decades. He has been ejected only a handful of times. His approach to fans who cross boundaries is consistently measured. He called a heckler during a 2024 Denver playoff game scary, but never touched the man. When fans touched him courtside on separate occasions, he expressed frustration but walked away. NBA rules strictly prohibit player-fan physical contact, and violations result in immediate ejection, league review, and suspensions. If LeBron had attacked a fan, it would be the biggest story in the history of the NBA. It would not be a rumor on a YouTube channel with a red circle on the thumbnail. It would be on the front page of every newspaper in America. But the reason the fake story spread so fast is because the real story is so raw. LeBron James has spent 2 years watching his son absorb a level of public hatred that no 55th pick in the history of the draft has ever experienced. He has watched fans wish death on his child. He has watched media personalities turn his son into a punchline. He has watched other NBA players dismiss Bronny on camera. He has watched coaches use his son's name as a competitive insult from the sideline. And every single time, he has responded with words, not violence. He confronted Stephen A. Smith with his voice, not his fists. He reported the Pacers fans to officials instead of going into the stands. He posted video of the hoop hall debris thrower instead of confronting a teenager. He has used the system, imperfect as it is, instead of breaking it. And through all of this, the part of the story that nobody wants to give airtime to is the part where Bronny is actually getting better. Because that part does not generate clicks. That part does not fit the narrative. That part requires you to pay attention to something other than outrage. LeBron spoke about his son's development on the Pat McAfee show, and his voice changed when he talked about it. The bravado dropped. The media savvy disappeared. What was left was just a father talking about his kid.
Listen, for me as a dad, it doesn't matter if he never scores, ever. For me as a dad, I'm just super proud of him, period, as a young man.
It does not matter if Bronny never scores another point. That is what LeBron said, not as a basketball player. As a father who almost lost his son to a cardiac arrest 2 years ago and is watching him play professional basketball against every odd imaginable.
I am super proud of his development to where he is now. From the moment that, he was drafted in June of 2025.
LeBron's friend who survived his own cardiac arrest told him the recovery takes years. That friend was 23 when his heart stopped. Bronny was 19.
And he told me, he was like, man, I'm gonna be honest, it took me about 2.5 years to finally get back to just normalcy.
Less than 2 years out from a medical event that could have killed him, Bronny scored 39 points in a G League game. And when he called his father afterward, he was not celebrating. He was annoyed because he missed a free throw that would have given him 40.
And more than anything, when I talked to him, he was more pissed off at the technical free throw that he missed. More than anything. He's like, I could have had a 40.
That is the real story, not a fake suspension, not a fabricated attack. A young man who had his heart stop beating at 19 years old, got drafted into the most visible roster in the world, absorbed 2 years of public cruelty that would have broken most adults, and responded by putting up 39 points and being mad about the one free throw he missed. And his father, the man the internet keeps trying to turn into a villain, responded to all of it the same way every single time. He used his words, he used the system, he protected his son within the lines, and he never, not once, crossed them. During a March 2026 win over the Brooklyn Nets, LeBron threw an assist to Bronny for a three-pointer, marking the first father-to-son assist in NBA history. The Griffies were in the building. The arena exploded. And LeBron described the moment on the Pat McAfee show in a way that had nothing to do with basketball and everything to do with being a dad.
I wasn't physically, I wasn't even there. I wasn't even there.
He said he was floating. His body was on the court, but his mind was somewhere else. He was thinking about the cardiac arrest, about the recovery, about every person who told him his son did not belong.
And, but damn, that was an unbelievable moment, man, for me to be able to like have that dream, be able to speak it into existence.
LeBron James was not suspended for attacking fans. There was no attack. There was no suspension. There was a father who spent 23 seasons building a legacy measured in rings and MVPs. And the moment that made him float, the moment that took him out of his own body, was throwing a basketball to his son. Well, that's it for this video, but don't go anywhere because we've got plenty more heat for you. Just tap any of the cards on your screen right now and keep it locked.